I believe it is critical for our students to understand where our food comes from. This is going to be a national crisis if we are not careful about who is feeding America, what countries are literally feeding our children. And therefore, we have to have our children know that this beef is not only local, we know what's in it, we know how it was grown, we know how it was raised, and we know how it got on your plate. And it is, number one, way healthier, way more nutritious, and it will taste better. So I think I can speak to this not only as a cattle farmer, but now I can speak to it with the hat of a school board member. So I'm in our schools and I talk to parents, and the nutritional value of the products that we're feeding our children is not up to par. Our food programs in our school system are largely governed by the federal government. And therefore, we have tight restrictions. However, we also have the flexibility to support our local cattle producers by feeding local beef to our children. That is, number one, a more nutritious quality product, higher quality protein. That way that our children who are underserved and underfed have the nutritional values that they can sustain a healthy learning environment and brain development for their future growth. So Tokeena Angus really started in the cattle business in 1936. After cotton was king and in the Great Depression, my grandfather saw the need and the opportunity to go into a diverse market, bringing cattle to the South. And so our cattle herd was started with Foundation Angus genetics out of Aberdeen, Scotland. And it has grown and evolved, keeping those genetics into the Angus industry with Tokeena Angus, constantly evolving and staying on the pathway, knowing where our meat comes from and the quality of meat that we're providing to our consumers. Sustainability is very important because we want to ensure that our land is preserved for the betterment for the next generation. Things that we do to ensure sustainability are our cattle are fenced out of the creeks so that we protect our watersheds. We've got riparian buffers in to protect the habitats. And we also do rotational grazing so that our land isn't overused, but we're capitalizing on the value of every single season of grass that we have. I know personally I have seen technology take on a huge role with our farming practices. So not only with genetics, but also with equipment technology that has enabled us to do different things and sometimes better things so that we are more efficient in our practices and also more sustainable for the future generations to continue doing what we do. So at Tokeena Angus, we value life. We value our brood cow's life. We value our calves' life. Because without life, we cannot have a production of a sustainable food. So we ensure that our cattle are not confined. They graze on open pasture. They have plenty of shade, plenty of water. We take care of knowing not to stress them. We make sure that we're only working them in the cooler parts of the day because heat stress is a very deep concern, especially for us in the South. So at Tokeena Angus, and like a lot of farms, we have to support our local economy, whether we're buying local feed from our feed stores, fertilizer from our fertilizer dealers, supporting our kids' baseball games and soccer games. If we're asked to sponsor something in the community, we're gonna support that because we believe in our community. We could not do what we do without the support of our community. And so we do buy local, we shop local, and we want to eat local too. I think some of the bigger challenges that family farms are seeing are overcrowded and housing developments coming in to encroach on our land. So obviously we know they're not making any more dirt and soil, so we have to maintain what we have and preserve what we have so that we can sustain that for our food production. Well, we certainly hope that we will continue the legacy of Tokeena Angus. Obviously, as a young person in agriculture, I see the detriment that we're facing in agriculture across our nation because our farmers are older and they're not being able to pass that land and the cattle farms on to the next generation because, let's face it, this is a hard life and it's not easy, and not everybody wants to go back onto the family farm. But I do, and I hope that our future generations coming in will continue to want to do what we do because What we do is important. We're growing our own food every single day.